Hello and welcome to another video, and in this video we're going to be looking at the fundamentals of wave management, primarily looking at it from the perspective of asking for relevant pushouts. So here we're going to be looking at a bot lane example where we have two melee supports and it is Xayah into the Kai'Sa. And so what's actually happening is that they took a level 1 trade. Now, I'm not going to go too much into the microtransactions that are happening between the two ADCs and supports because this is a generalized wave management video and we want to keep time short. And so here, what's essentially happening is the level 1 trade goes off where Rel attempts to, get the trade off. Unfortunately, we don't actually get the extra auto attack on the Alistar before the Kai'Sa has to retreat, and so the damage wasn't as much as it could have been. Now, what's actually happening here is the red minions are actually hitting the blue minions, and because this is happening, the red wave is actually pushing into the blue wave faster because these three minions are not occupied with the wave, they're occupied with hitting the opposing champions. And so what's actually happening is the lane on the red side is actually going to be able to get level 2 first because of the slight HP advantage on the on how the whole wave is being played out. Unfortunately, the last auto didn't happen, so this isn't as good as it could have been. So at this point, as you can see, Vi ended up also starting on the top side of the map here. We can see that Vi starts red, and we see that because the pinks go off, there's a ward there, and we also see that our jungler, whom is Ivern, is also starting at the top side of the map and slowly moving down, just initiating his first route where he just makes friends with all the camps and then takes them later. So in this case, as you can see, because the level 2 is being lost on the side of Xayah, we can see that they're already preemptively backing off before the three minions on the second wave end up dying, because that would essentially be the timer at which level 2 would happen. And so now what ends up happening is the red side minions, or the red side champions, now have control of the second wave, and so if they can slow down the second wave and build a third wave, they can actually crash the whole thing, and then they can find a base timer, which is going to align with a time in the game where Ivern could actually come down. As you can see, he's already on Raptors. And so now this allows the opposing bottom lane on the red side to actually find a fairly sufficient recall, gaining technically first blood for wave 4 and 5 and 6 as it returns into them. Of course, Vi is going to be also bottom set, so they'll have that advantage as well. Of course, if they end up pushing second wave, then it's fine too, but they may not get the recall off. As you can see, they're pushing the third wave here. Xayah and Alistar just looking to farm it. Unfortunately, won't be able to find a recall, which they weren't really going for anyway. But as you can see, the lane actually is bouncing right back, as the proximity of where the minions are much closer to the area of where Xayah's tower is. Therefore, the blue minions that are going to be reinforcing this line here are going to be reinforced by the blue minions before the red minions, hence the wave pushes back into the opposing player, which now, if we identify this clutter as wave A, right, and we can then identify the next incoming wave and the next incoming wave after that as wave B and wave C, then we essentially want to get the push out on B before C arrives, because C will end up locking and C will be somewhere really deep in the lane, and this is the same timer at which the opposing jungler, who is Vi, who started on the top side, would also be in the bottom side looking for something. This of course allows us to know that this is also the ward relatively where you want to be warding at, because you see, if this is wave A and there's a timeline as to which wave arrives, and when I say arrives, I mean you see it on the lane clashing against the opposing side's lane. We want to be aware where these waves will be played out, and then based on this awareness, we want to know at which timer generally we want to get the ward in. So usually, if this is wave A, wave B is going to be somewhere in the middle, and then you want to shove out B, and then while also you want to get a ward on wave B as well. And if C locks, then of course the ward that you place on wave B will be assisting you for wave C, which would be the final crash out and the shove out. Okay, so we'll see as this continues to evolve here. And okay, as you can see, Ivern runs down. A ward and try would have been really good. So in this case, if you were on the side of the red side bottom lane, you want to be warding as red side bottom lane. You see, they want to be warding sometime between wave 2 and wave 3 on the red side. So this is wave 2. Wave 3 is just arriving. They want to ward somewhere in between wave 2 and wave 3. Somewhere in between this angle they want to be warding. Now, with the opposing side, what will happen with them on the side of Xayah is, or Ruler's team, is, well, third wave will crash fourth will kind of buffer. Fifth and sixth are going to return, right? Sixth being a cannon. And so as the ruler's team, you want to be aware, okay, well, we probably have to ward somewhere here because the wave is going to go back into the opposing team. It's going to bounce back. Now, obviously, this cannot be the case, and they could just keep pushing in, right? Like that would change things, and that would also change the point at which we would place our ward. The point is to make this as simple as possible. Is you want to put yourself in a position where you can ward before you move forward and advance into a position in the lane at which you need to get a push out from. Okay, so in this case, because we know that Iron does this really crazy route in the beginning because of the dynamic of the champion, we should be on the side of the Kaisa, just be warding the tri-bush or warding somewhere on the top region of the map, right? If not on wave 3, then preferably on wave 4. So I think that's what she does. As you can see, she goes and places the ward down. The bounce back is happening. As you can see, the fourth wave is arriving. They get all in here. Kaisa has to blow summoners. That's okay. And we know that Vi is also coming down. So at this point, they got to crash this wave. They have to get rid of this wave immediately. Because if the next wave ends up locking, Vi is down here. Notice how there's more blue minions than red minions? The wave's going to return back. Now, your jungler in gold, silver, platinum, diamond, whatever, master, is probably not going to see this. And so you want to be warding on this wave. And then you want to be looking to shove. Okay, so this is the wave that you want to ward on. This is the fifth wave. As you can see, the sixth wave was the cannon as it arrives right here. It's the sixth wave. Now, you want to be pushing, you want to be ideally pushing 5 all the way before 6 arrives, because then you get a base timer. Unfortunately, that's not the case here. And so what's happening here is, because you're going to be playing 6 in an angle that's very scary with a timer, because Vi is going to be down here, then you're going to need to place a ward. This is a very dangerous timer. Now, let's say, for example, Vi started bottom side, and now she's top side, and we know that she's top side because there would be no incentive for her to be bottom now because she has top side camps up. It's already 339. Then playing wave 6 this deep isn't so bad. It's still not ideal, but it's not the worst, because you're not going to be in danger of getting Vi ganked from the top side of the lane, somewhere from this region or somewhere back here. So when you don't have a jungler supporting you, you can either call your jungler for the 6th wave to get the crash off, or you can ward on the 5th wave before the 6th wave arrives, and if you can crash on the 5th wave and just get the recall, that would of course be ideal, okay? As you can see, Vi's on crab. Top crab is not accessible at the moment, because really Ivern's situation is, okay, well, do I play for the 6th wave push out, or do I go for top crab? Top crab is not the play here, because if you go for top crab, your bottom lane will lose. And so at this point, as an ADC, you should be aware that because we need push out on wave 6, and we need push out on wave 7 here as it's arriving, we are going to be having to play 3v3. So here we're just looking to crash. Vi chooses not to come because she knows it's a match. And if it's a match, then if the 2 players choose not to take the 3v3, then they don't have to pull the trigger on that side. Better opportunities will eventually arise. Okay? So again, this was just the basics. You want to be aware of where each one of your wave is playing. You want to be aware of where the opposing jungler is going to be. And by aligning these 2 concepts, you're going to know at which points in the game you're going to be in danger as a laner. And then, of course, based on that awareness of, okay, well, this is when I'm going to be in danger, you can call your jungler, or you can simply just not walk up in the